involved in the Tea Party, but more importantly, how I got involved. Why I initially got involved was I was sort of one of those people that sat up and watched the news every day, saw what was going on, bill after bill, restriction after restriction. And I'm a little older. I've only got 10, maybe 20 years left. But I've got children, and I've got grandchildren. And I wanted them to grow up free in this country like I did. Now, for years, I was the crazy man, sitting there on the couch, yelling at the TV and yelling at the paper. And to no effect, till my wife stole the remote on me and shuts it off when I get too carried away. So, where did I change, essentially? Well, on April 15, 2009, there was a tea party in Fishkill, New York. And there was about 4,000 people that showed up. And I said, oh, maybe I'm not the only crazy one. And I have to thank a guy named Todd Harvey who put that together. He's now in Florida, working his business down there. But without Todd, that would have never happened. And on July 7, 2009, he ran another one with over 2,000 people on a holiday weekend and showed up and said, we want our country back. In September 12, 2009, I went to Washington, D.C. Now, I had been to a couple of these parties. I didn't know how many people really felt the same way I do, or at least a core set of values the same way I do. I got out of the hotel and got to the subway and waited 45 minutes to even get on a train. And then when we got to Washington, the street was full of people from Federal Plaza all the way down to the Assembly Building. Now that's over a mile, 1.1 miles. It was full of people marching forward for 3 hours. You figure out how many people there. I'm not going to argue with you, but if there wasn't a million, I'll kiss something in Yankee Stadium on Bat Day. Now, we've had a lot of battles over the years. We've got bills for health care. We've got bills for this. Every one of these things is a mandate. Every one of them is a restriction to your constitutional rights. Restrict this, restrict that. Take taxes, take taxes. When is it all going to end? I'll tell you when it's going to end. It's when you tell them to stop and mean it. Now, whose fault is this mess? We're in a terrible mess. Whose fault is it? Well, it's not necessarily Obama, and it's not necessarily the current administration. They just went exponential on the whole thing. It's both parties, and more than anything else, it's you and I. We fell asleep at the switch, ladies and gentlemen. It's our responsibility to clean up this mess. And we're going to do it in November. Now, what's my main focus? Is it taxes? Is it this? Is it this sub problem, that problem? What is it? I want to restore ourselves to a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. If we were a democracy, mob would rule. If they didn't like you, they wanted to take your house, they'd come and take your house. That's what a democracy enables. The founders did not want a democracy. They threw it out. They created a republic with a rule of law. And the supreme law is the Constitution. That's the law of the land. And by God, they better start listening to it. Now, I took an oath as an 18-year-old youngster. Not necessarily because I wanted to, but I took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And people, we've got them both today. And my oath doesn't have an expiration date. I still mean it, and by God, I'm going to stand by it. Now, I can sum all my feelings up in two simple words. okay? It's liberty and freedom! Now why are you here? Let me hear it! Why are you here?